Hi, you're listening to Brettalks. This is Brett, and I talk, and I am so thrilled and happy to have a very special guest with us today for what will probably be our first podcast. And so I think it's absolutely perfect that this gentleman, who you may know as a Geico Caveman. You may know him from 10 Items or Less. You may know him from Quick Draw, the star creator of that show. Or you just may know him as that guy who lives right down the street from you. Because I called your neighbors and they're the only ones listening. Hi, John. John Lehr, ladies and gentlemen. John Lehr.
Good to see you and hear you. And you do talk.
I do. You
do. I sometimes say that that's the only, people are like, oh, you're funny. And I'm like, yeah, you're good at communicating. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the only skill I have.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Yeah. That sums me up too. Why did you become a comedian? Why did you do this? I couldn't do anything else.
And even if you wanted to, at this point, it's way too late. You can't turn the canoe around now. What am I going to do?
Yeah, go to DeVry and start studying some sort of useful technical skill or something.
I could never. Is DeVry still around?
I think I actually thought of that. It was in my head because I think there was a news piece that came out recently about them being sued.
Oh, really?
So that just
they used to be in Chicago. When I was in Chicago, and we were watching unemployment television. Where we're up, during the daytime, getting high, just doing nothing, hoping.
Yeah.
The DeVry commercials were like every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes. Part of what Brettalks is making references to things that don't exist anymore. So.
Really? Okay, good.
So we can think of as many of those as possible.
The IBM Selectric, the great typewriter, the best type, the Cadillac of typewriters, really.
I was a big fan of the Commodore 64.
Now you're talking word processing. That's a computer, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about ink and ribbon. And that's it.
That's impressive.
And thinly sliced trees, and that's it. That's all you've got.
That's a deep cut. Thanks for talking to me today. It's clear that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to say that up front because I'm not one of those guys who pretend.
Right.
Right. We're just here and we're talking. And seriously, I'll just tell a little story about you. I don't know if you know this, but it's going to get weird for a moment because I'm going to get honest. All right?
Right on.
I saw your show at Quick Draw. I saw the Quick Draw. I saw it before I knew that it was improvised. Or mostly improvised. We can get into all that. This isn't really a showbiz talky thing. This is more of kind of a nuts and bolts comedy.
Right.
And then also at the end, I like to solve some of the world's problems. It's just what we do.
Okay. Shit. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So, through the lens of comedy and improvisation and
of course,
and the skills and philosophies that therein lie.
Understood.
But I'm going back just for a moment. I know this is an interview, but I'm going to have to share this story for a second. And I'm going to give a way too big of a build-up before I do that, and then it's going to be a huge letdown. So
always oversell.
Yeah,
oversell.
Yeah, coming to the stage is the best thing you've ever seen ever.
Leave the audience wanting less.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that. It's in my DNA. So I saw your show, Quick Draw, and I just thought it was hilarious. And then I found out, I looked it up and, found out it was improvised. And then I started stalking you. Mostly on the internet, not a whole lot in person. And as it is, in the small world that we live in, it turned out that a very good friend of mine knew you.
Who?
Chris.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Chris. Right.
Big Chris.
Big Chris. A lot of people are like, "Hey, big guy." They say that to me, but I'm only a little big. I'm 6'3". He makes me feel little, and he's one of the reasons why I love him so much, because I'm always like, "Chris, give me a hug." It makes me feel like a toddler. Just give me a big hug, and I think I was just blathering on. I was swooning like a fan does, like a pathetic, sad comedy improv fan does, going, "Oh, this show is so great. That is the kind of thing I would love to do." And Chris, in his very sort of Chris manner, was like, "I know him. I know him." I was like, "You got to make that happen and do it so he doesn't know how creepy this is."
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's so great. It's funny because like we all feel that way. I think, as you said, it's a small community of people who are, making stuff, creating stuff, trying, and you get to know each other, and dreamers.
Yeah.
And you kind of fan on each other. Mm-hmm. And I often think like, God, we never get to hear how people really feel, how our peers really feel about our work. Because when you fish for it, you're fishing for it. And if you don't fish for it, people some don't want to say stuff. So you know what I mean? Like, it's funny, like the Quick Draw, it has such a deep fan base. Oh, like there's like committed deep fans to that show. Mm-hmm. And I run into them every now and then, and it's a little weird getting recognized by someone you don't know. Yeah. Where they know you but you don't know them. It's a little like disconcerting. But oh my God, it's such a great feeling with that show, because I love the show as much as they do, and it's just like such a it's just such a great feeling to be a part of something like that was just so fun to do and turned out so well. It just it really yeah. I mean, I could just swoon on and on, but for anybody listening who doesn't know what Quick Draw is, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, go to Hulu and find it. It doesn't look like anything. Like when you say improv to people, they go, "Oh, did you remake Whose Line Is It Anyway? Is it that competition show?" No, it is not. It looks like a period Western. You're dressed to the nines. You look gorgeous. There are horses. It's filmed in a little Western town. I mean, the whole thing is 100%, done like a Western should be done, except you guys are having so much fun. I can only imagine. This is a fan question. How many outtakes did you get of people just bursting into laughter or falling out, like Carol Burnett style? All the time. Yeah. All the time. I mean, basically, all the dialogue was improvised. Mm-hmm. So we would have scripts that would sort of show everybody where we're going, because we wanted to have very strong narratives, and the show was kind of like a procedural in a way. There's a crime to be solved. So you had to kind of follow that. But all the dialogue. So you would show up as you would have loved it, Brett. It would be perfect. You show up. You go through makeup and hair.
Keep that in mind the next time you're. No.
I will. Damn straight I will. What we could have done with a tall drink of water like you, too, put you in some crazy outfit.
Oh, my God.
Anyway,
I love crazy outfits.
Then you show no lines, no scripts. You just show up to the set, and then, we tell you, kind of, okay, you were drunk last night and you slept with her, and this is the first time you've seen her, and her husband is this guy, and he's right there. Go. And that's it.
Yeah.
And you shoot 4, usually around 4 15-minute takes, maybe get some, some stuff so it makes it easier to cut. Could you repeat that? The one camera was off your face on that or whatever, just so we have it. And that's it. And then you move on. And we would sit in the edit room for weeks and weeks and weeks and put it all together.
Right. So there's a little payback. on all that
Yeah.
fun that happens, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's a trade-off.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just an easy fix.
Right. So we would have tons of material
Mm.
that never hit the air.
Right.
Tons of people laughing and cracking up, but also tons of really amazing stuff that just, when you get it down to 22 minutes, like the perfect cut is 35 minutes.
Right.
That cut, I loved that cut. I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
and then it'd be like, yeah, but take 13 minutes out. It'd just be,
God. There must be this is, for those fans, you could just do a whole nother, like, director's cut of the show.
Absolutely.
It's Hulu. Why do they care about 22 minutes?
They did release some stuff. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to do was release the footage so that the fans could cut stuff themselves. Mm. So we would shoot with 3 cameras.
Right.
So like there would be a camera on you, a camera on me, and then another camera covering us both. Right. So like a sitcom, really.
Yeah.
So imagine streaming all 3 angles and having people at home with some software that's free cut it together. That's what I wanted.
Yeah. I think that's the future.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, that's already happening. But to provide them with that kind of stuff so that people could cut what, because it's so subjective. Comedy is so subjective.
Right.
So what cracks you up may not crack me up. And so, hey, cut your own, man.
Right. God, so many thoughts go through my head. You're talking about all that extra footage. And I remember hearing that there was something like 100 hours of footage for Spinal Tap. Right.
Yeah.
And so who were your fans? I mean, who are you fans of? Who are the people?
Spinal Tap.
Right.
You named it. Yeah. That movie changed my life. Yeah. I grew up with the original Saturday Night Live when I was a kid, and that was unlike anything I had ever seen. And I was it touched me so deeply as a 12-year-old boy or whatever I was when it came out. It changed me, and
me too.
I could never enjoy Saturday Night Live again after that. All the other casts were they were something other than Saturday Night Live, but that first cast, was the thing that kind of just cemented in me. And then when Spinal Tap came out, my God, I just was like, what? This is fantastic, because it was telling a story, but it had that same comic energy to it that sketch had. Because that was always my problem with sketch. Yeah. I was always like, it either goes too long or, it's like candy. Did I just eat something? Yeah, what was that?
It's always snacking, right? It's always a snack, and then, right? I mean,
the only thing you say about a great sketch is, did you see it? No. Oh, it was great. You should see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, even watching really good stuff, I mean, unless it's like first season of SNL or a couple other moments from them, since then, you can actually hear yourself going, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's fun. But that's not actually funny in my definition of funny. If I'm not actually laughing, if I'm saying that's funny, right?
It's not funny.
But
the example of that always just killed, and this was really core for me, was Monty Python. I watched all of those movies with my high school buddies every day after school, stoned. I mean, that's all we did every single day. Yeah. You want to watch Life of Brian? Okay.
Yeah.
And we'd watch it again.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember us quoting Holy Grail. Yeah. And it was years later, and I'd watched it 1,000 times when I was a kid, and we were quoting it, and then we put it on, and we were like, which parts were we quoting? And we realized we were quoting the whole movie in rotation, just because every single thing in it, right?
I learned not early on, after I was already in love with my now wife and we were dating, I learned that she had never seen Spinal Tap and never seen any Monty Python. And I was really concerned. Ooh. I was just like, holy shit. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
and she saw Spinal Tap and liked it. I don't know if she ever watched Monty Python, but my kids have. I just showed my son the fat guy who explodes. It's wafer thin.
Yeah.
I showed it to my son, and he was just like, "This is incredible!"
Oh God! And then you're like, "Oh, I can keep you now."
Yeah, I've raised them properly.
Yes, that's just awesome. That's just awesome. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about your journey from, how did you get from, where did you go to school for acting?
No, I went to Northwestern University, which is in Evanston, Illinois, which is a northern suburb of Chicago.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I got into, it was the only school, I'm from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
None of my family, to my knowledge, ever went to college outside of Kansas. And a lot of them didn't go to college. I mean, most of my family's from a little town called El Dorado outside of Wichita. Not El Dorado.
El Dorado?
El Dorado. Mm-hmm. And it's like a refinery town and truck drivers and and then my dad went to college at Pittsburgh, Kansas, and moved us up to Overland Park, which is like a suburb of Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So I had a teacher who encouraged me to apply at Northwestern, and I got into the School of Speech. I wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. I graduated with my teaching certificate and taught for years after. But on the way up, my mom said, "Why don't you audition for the theater department?" Mm-hmm. And because growing up in Kansas, it wasn't like theater, drammer. You can make a living at drammer.
Do they say theater there?
Theater, yeah.
They say that here in Baton Rouge. Theater.
Naked.
I always kind of wince and then try not to correct them and continue on. Drammer. Theater.
I was naked at the theater.
Mm-hmm.
The theater.
And so anyway, you got in with a group.
So I got in, and then Northwestern had an improv show called the Meow Show. Like lots of colleges have their own student improv show, and I auditioned and got in, and that changed my life. That I could not believe you could get up on stage and say whatever you wanted. Wow, it was just like wow.
Yeah, right.
And I was in Chicago, and I stayed and lived in Chicago and did a bunch of shows that we really wanted to kind of take improv, and see where it could go. And, we were kind of part of that evolution into what's now called long form, where it's kind of more of a play and things are connected and that kind of stuff. And I was discovered by a talent scout. I was doing a show at the Organic Theater, David Mamet's theater, a 2-person improv show. And this beautiful woman comes backstage after. She says, "I'm Eve Zerley. I'm from Fox. Would you guys like to come to LA and do a showcase?" And we were like, yeah, we would, because we're broke.
Yeah.
And I came. That's how I got to LA. And we did a showcase, and everybody in Hollywood was there, and we were flavor of the month. And then that went away, and then I started my actual career.
Yeah.
Auditioning and writing.
It's great to hear that moment because, as a teacher, that is the thing students will say all the time. I'll get someone on a phone call before they've even taken a class, and they'll go, everybody wants to jump to that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about becoming an actor. How do you get an agent? How do you get it?
Right.
And it's like,
it
would be. I always say it would be as if you said, "I'm thinking about becoming a welder." Right? Where do I get a union gig? It's like you can't even get into the welders union unless you pass a test. Are an amazing
hard test apparently. Because I looked into. I wanted to try to learn some welding, and that's hard, man. That's some real. Those are real skills, Brett, unlike what we have.
Well, when you're doing what we do, you can't lose a finger if you make a mistake.
Right.
So there's that, right? So
I was cooking in a restaurant in Chicago, and I remember looking around, and I was in the kitchen. I remember looking around at the other cooks and seeing missing fingers, and here's a burn scar, and I was like, hey, maybe I'm not in the right.
Oh yeah, did you have some? I had a day job where I was like a delivery truck, like UPS. And I was looking around. Wow,
you'd be great at that. You're huge.
No.
You could carry a couch.
Oh, it's off. No, actually, big people aren't good at carrying things because your spine is longer. There's more chance of damage. And I was looking around, and they all wear the shorts, and every one of them has surgery scars on their knees. And you find out it's because the steepness of, like every one of these jobs is like, the actors are always looking for these day jobs that are like, not too hard, make a lot of money, but they all have something. And when you're skillless, like I am, all you can do is blather on and make dumb jokes. You got to stop hurting yourself.
Somebody's got to do it.
Right. So that's great for the people, listening who are like, how do you get discovered? By actually doing good stuff. Just get out there and work just do. That's the only way, I think.
I had been doing improv in Chicago for years and years, and little bar gigs and people yelling, "You suck," and just horrible, horrible stuff for years and years and years before that moment occurred. But it did occur, which was amazing.
Yeah. And what I'm really interested in is how the philosophy that you learned in improv has helped you in life in general.
Well, okay.
Does that resonate with you at all, that concept?
Yes, it does. Oh, dude, are you kidding me? For sure. So during those early years, I was on drugs. So I was a drug addict and raging alcoholic during all those years. And I've been sober now for 25 years. And
wow, me too.
I understood that.
I know, but it's like,
Yeah, you don't want to put it out there till everybody can do it their own way.
Right, exactly.
So
exactly.
Part of what I discovered that I had been looking for with the drugs and alcohol was kind of like some sort of connection to something deeper and in life, in the world. I wanted something, something that was more authentic and deeper. And so once I removed it, I realized that's what I had been searching for in ways. And it kind of made me realize what I loved so much about improv. Because improv, I think, to actually work, all of your focus needs to be on your partner.
Yep.
If your focus is on you and how you're doing, you're fucked. You're totally fucked. You're in your head and you're done. You're done.
Yeah.
Because you're just thinking about, and life is sort of like that. If we're in our heads and thinking about how we're coming off, does this person like me? And, and how am I appearing to these people? And we all do it. I mean, that's just the monkey brain, as the meditators
it's like the
call it.
Worst first date. Where you're like, do they like me? And then you just come off as either lame or gross or extra or whatever, right?
Or fake. You're just not you because you're trying to present who you are.
Right.
And there's no peace in it. There's no peace. And so I needed peace, and the only time I really found peace was on stage because it had improv had a combination of that where you truly have to care about the other person and making them feel okay in order to feel okay.
Yeah.
And then the other side of improv, which was just this beautiful combination, was, you and I have talked about this, there are rules that people in classes have for improv where like you can't ask questions. You should always say yes and. Those are great rules for people who are trying to learn. But what always attracted me was the not knowing, the dive into the abyss of total failure, where you throw it all out there and free fall, knowing that there is nothing that you're doing to create any kind of handles that could make it work. So I had this thrill of that, which I love. I'm a junkie. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm just being like, holy shit! And this beauty of being, of thinking about someone other than myself.
Yes.
And
when you're a selfish, self-centered alcoholic and drug addict, I used to drink so I would notice other people.
Right.
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 Oh, oh my God! And everybody looked better, right? And they sounded better, and I was more interested in them actually when it worked.
Well, and your voices in your head that are criticizing you are delayed. They're still there, but they're pushed back. Yeah, they're drunk, so they're not as effective.
Very few people understand that what you just said. Because they may have it, but they're not conscious of it. But if if you're listening and you ever feel like someone is interrupting you when you've been sitting there alone, that's what that is, right? You're like, and someone says, "Hey, can you?" And you're like, "What? That was my life until I was 25 years old."
I had this amazing transformative experience in the shower about, I don't know, 10 years ago.
So, wait, I'm picturing it. Go ahead.
I'm naked, totally naked, half lathered up in the shower.
Are you in good shape? You're in good shape?
No, God, no. I've never been in good shape.
I got a new picture.
No. And by the way, I wear boxers, so, gravity has taken its toll on everything down there. So, I basically, tuck my scrotum into my socks when I go out. No. But anyway, I'm in the shower.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm having an argument with this executive from Sony about an incident that had happened 10 years prior, that I had never gotten over. And here I was in the shower and I was telling him exactly what I wanted to have told him back when I didn't say it 10 years prior. And I'm having this great argument. And then all of a sudden, I have this experience of noticing myself naked in the shower, having a conversation with a ghost. And I laughed, I just laughed at myself. And that part of myself that laughed at the other part of myself, it immediately went away. All of it went away. It was just like, it was gone. That the rabbit hole that I was in was gone immediately. And I was just in the moment there for a second in the shower, sort of just snickering at myself. And that to me is like everything, that's like that awareness that we are capable of as sentient beings of having of ourselves, aware of being aware is, I believe that when you're doing that, and if you're doing that in a way that's gentle with yourself and not judging, just observing yourself, not judging, that's the key. Then I believe you're holding hands with God. I believe that's the thing that connects all of us.
I'm going to loop a couple ideas back together, right? So here's the problem that some people have with this idea of like, be in the now, right? Eckhart Tolle and there's only now and all that stuff. They get caught up in this whole idea of how do you plan? Right. and I see, this is why I love the way that you work, the way that you describe that you work, because this is actually how I now live life. You know where the script is going, or you have an idea where it could go. In other words, you have a goal. You have an island you're swimming to. Are you going to jump in a canoe and get there quick? Are you going to tread water and hope the current takes you? You don't know because you're improvising. Right? And there's something
exactly right.
so fun
You're
about
dead
that.
On it.
There's something so fun about that to go, you know what? I got together with these awesome people, the Newts, and they took over this theater and they started the Boomerang Comedy Theater. And they're like, what are you going to do? How are we going to do this? And I said, well, this, and the other thing. We're going to have these shows and that shows, these shows. I'm telling them these things. And they'll hear this and laugh because they know me. I have no idea how we're going to do any of it. But I can see the final picture. And if you have that and you have enough life experience to think, well, at least I know somebody who knows how to do it. Right?
That's right.
Then we can get there. Then we can, and it's such a better way to live than either baby with the bathwater, which is when I was drunk, which is fuck it all. I can't manage getting to tomorrow, so I'm just going to get drunk and hope it all works out, which it never does, right? And then the other side of it, which is like micromanage every little aspect, just grind it out, which may work. I think it works for a lot of people actually, but I don't think I don't think at the end of the day they're like, that was awesome. I think they're just like, oh, gonna do it again. And I think my dad kind of lived that way a lot of his life, which is, I think when the moment,
it's understandable.
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally agree. There's a Jewish thing of co-creation with God. Mm-hmm. So God makes the wheat, but man makes the bread.
Right.
So it's not just about the wheat. It's all, you have a part to play. You have things to do. And I agree. I think the idea of just be in the moment, be in the now, be in the now, be in the now. In improv, they say that all the time. Yeah. And there's a problem with that because people have been trying to be in the now for 3,000 years. Yeah. It's really fucking hard to be in the now. Yeah. Yeah. If you've ever meditated, if anybody's ever meditated, you know that the minute you meditate, your brain goes somewhere else. Like you do your meditated chant, and then you immediately think about your dry cleaning you got to pick up. Mm-hmm. That's meditation. That's what the brain does. Right. It's about coming back to the meditation. It's coming back to the moment. It's not being in the moment. I don't think. I mean, it's great when you are.
Quick side note.
Coming back to the moment.
Right. Is there a type of meditation that you like?
They're very basic Buddhist, breath. I count, and my go-to one is I inhale. I imagine I'm inhaling a ribbon into my nose, and it curls around inside my chest, and then I exhale, and the ribbon comes back out. So it's like it's a way to visualize your breathing.
Nice.
And that's it.
That's great. Yeah.
Or count to 6, hold a beat. Count to 6, hold a beat.
Oh, that's a good one. That one I like to calm myself down. The little control, like the slowing the breath. I've been teaching my 3-year-old to do that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, cause he's like me. He can't stop his brain. Yeah. And so at night I have him put his arms up and go, we do it 3 times. And
that's awesome. And does it help?
Yeah. He'll actually, he's in the big boy bed now. So he actually will stay there,
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes, half the time, I didn't say anything for sure, but I've been doing the transcendental meditation for a little over 20 years.
I've always had that in my back pocket, but I've never done it. You love it.
I was very arrogant the first 3 to 5 years, like I am about anything. Like, it's the best, What I realized is actually the only thing I'd ever done. So like I just arrogantly thought it was like the best thing. And I was at one of these hipster meditation centers in West LA, and they had a really smart speaker. And the speaker was talking about, we did this all this research on all these different types of meditation. We put people in a brain scan and all this stuff, and we spent $150,000 at this Harvard research. He said, and I'm embarrassed at the answer. And everybody kind of leaned forward, like, why? What is the best form of meditation? We found out it was the one you can do. And everybody went, what? Yeah, if you can just, like, if you're on a rosary, or if you're counting your breath, or if you've got a mantra, or you're going
But that makes total sense to me, because it's consistency.
Yeah.
Anything that you can do, which is what drug addicts and alcoholics are not good at, except when it comes to getting a hold of your drugs and alcohol. Right. We're very consistent. Like, I knew, man, you wanted to see me operate, just, run out of weed, And this was before you could just walk into a Starbucks. We had to ski for 20 miles in the snow to get weed.
Yeah, I mean, the kids nowadays, they just don't understand how...
They don't understand.
And I'm in Louisiana, and they barely have liquor laws. I mean, basically, all of my college kids who are underage are basically admitting that they spent Mardi Gras completely drunk. They're all in bars, drinking next to cops. Nobody cares.
Should be.
As they should be.
They're college kids.
As soon as you can drive or get killed in the army, I think you should be able to drink. I don't know.
I agree. And people think because I'm sober that I'm anti-drinking. No, I'm pro-drinking. I just can't do it.
Right.
That's my stance. I think I have friends all the time. I'm sure you have this too. I have friends of mine who are not ex-drug alcoholics or people, crazy folk, who say, God, I kind of wish I had sowed my oats a little more when I was in my 20s. And I'm looking at them going, what? What the fuck were you doing? I'm not. I had sex with everything. I did everything. I had,
See, I missed out on the sex part because I was just so drunk. I was just so giant, smelly ogre. So I'm jealous.
Yeah, but you're married now. You're with a supermodel of a wife.
Yes, I. You know what? I married up. I will just say that.
She is gorgeous and amazing. Just an amazing person.
I tried to take her name, but she wouldn't let me. No, she's awesome. She's awesome. And,
she's incredible. And I'm a big fan.
Yeah, we're all big fans, and I'm going to keep her if she has me. I love this. Because for me it all intersects, right? It's like I traded that euphoria. I totally agree with you. I'm identifying 100%. And there was an overlap. Like I discovered comedy, improvisation, the theater, and all that stuff. And it was joy. It was pure joy. And I kept drinking for a little while, but I'm so glad it was there when I stopped because I just fell into it, right? And then it's all connected with meditating, right? You find out these artists who have these other practices, people you look up to, and then you find out, oh, they're meditating and they're taking care of themselves and they have other spiritual ideas. It's all part of. I think it's an important part of being an artist. That as comedians we're like, we joke and we play, but there's a lot of growth and healing that has to go on when you fucking suck, get off the stage, and when other comics give you awful advice, right?
Yeah.
And all these things that you have to process constantly, daily, as a human being, to go and get up and do it again.
Right. Because your own brain is giving you the worst criticism. You're stupid. You're bad. You're not funny. You're never going to make it. You're not going to.
I'm sorry.
Whatever that means.
Are you reading my mind?
Yes.
You're in there?
Yeah,
get out of my head, John Lehr. Get out of my head. So all that, it's been an amazing journey. What's next for you? What's going on?
The end of the world almost happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it didn't take us all out yet. Mm-hmm. So over the pandemic, like most people, I did a ton of writing and work because I just didn't have anything else to do except hang out with my kids. And who wants to do that? No, I did hang out with my kids. Don't worry.
We all felt the same way, though. At first, it was like, oh, my God. And then in the middle, it was like, this is so great. I wish I'd spend more time with my kids.
Somebody get me out of here.
So there was an arc.
Yeah.
It was
kind of you had young kids, so it must have been a nightmare. I can't imagine. But anyway, I've developed a new show that I'm about to pitch, and we have our first. It's just because Hollywood is just kind of opening up again now.
Like
the development side.
Yes,
exactly.
Opening to the world,
like a lovely vagina opening up. But it is, and people still aren't going into work, which is really hard when you're pitching because then you have to do it over Zoom, which
Zoom sucks. This is not an ad for Zoom.
No,
suck.
I mean, I'm glad we have it. I don't know what I would have done without it, but Jesus, you can't sell a show over Zoom. I can't, not a comedy show. So anyway, but it's a great show. I think I told you about it. If not, I will. I can't talk about it yet.
Don't talk about it.
You're not supposed to.
We're the fans are just excited that you have new ideas bubbling and things happening and you're gonna.
Yeah, I did a movie. I did a movie called Coronavirus Conspiracy, which is a comedy, which is a crazyville movie. I recommend.
Tell my mom who's listening and your neighbors who I called and told them about this. Tell all those people where they can find that and watch.
Anywhere you just search. It's on YouTube. It's on Vudu. It's on Amazon. You can stream it anywhere. And then I did. I just recently. Oh, the Caveman came back.
What?
See, I had a Geico Caveman gig just recently on I Can See Your Voice. Do you know what that is? It's a show on Fox.
Oh.
It's a competition singing show where the contestants sing and you try to guess if they're singing or if they're lip syncing. And they asked me to come on as the Caveman. They hired me to come on as the Caveman, and I sang a number.
Nice. You sang?
I don't want to ruin it for you.
Oh, okay. I won't.
But,
because that's the whole point of the contest.
I guess.
Now the voices are crushing my skull again. With, you stupid idiot. Look what you did.
And the live stuff is coming back.
Yeah.
I do a solo show, and people are just now booking me again.
Yeah.
For the first time in a while, man. That's been rough for friends of mine who are stand-ups and such. Yeah,
I'll finish with this. We've been talking about getting you down to Baton Rouge for the Baton Rouge Improv Festival, and I hope that we can make that happen.
Yes,
to get to see your
private jet. Remember, private jet. What else did I ask for? Just I don't even want the. You know what? I don't want a private jet. Those are the worst.
You said extra gluten bread.
Extra gluten, yeah. Just give me a jar of gluten. That shit's delicious.
And we're gonna get you the best food in the world. I
love New Orleans. New Orleans is.
Oh, you can't go to New Orleans. You'll be in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Yeah. Oh, right. I've never spent time in Baton Rouge.
Nobody has.
I've only been to New Orleans. Yeah.
We were going to call it the last improv festival in the world because everybody else has one. But we're proud of it, and we're really happy, and we're going to be excited to have you join us.
Yeah. If it works out, I'm in. I mean, count me in. I know you guys are still trying to figure out how to do it, but I'm in. Count me in. Anything you're up to, Brett. You're an amazing guy, and I'd like to, I'm succubus.
I'm going to burst into tears
and exploit it.
Oh, come on! I'm going to burst into tears because the guy I was stalking now said nice things about me, and I know.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's really great. We'll talk again.
Who did I stalk? I don't think the guy I stalked, it didn't work out well. I'm trying to think who. Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't work out well.
Dave Pasquazi, but he and I became friends later.
Yeah, I met him once. I understand why that didn't go well. The stalking.
In Chicago, I was just like, "Oh my god, that guy's fucking amazing.
He's a genius." And we're gonna get him on the show. Now that you said it, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make
he's
it happen.
a very kind person.
Yeah. Well, John, it's been so wonderful talking to you. A
pleasure, my friend.
I feel like you're right here with me. And
I am. I'm in your head. Remember?
Yes. And so I just want to say thank you for joining me on Brettalks, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too, my friend. Thanks for having me.
Okay.